most successful people in the world look for setbacks. What I mean by setbacks, a setback is a challenge that you face on a day-to-day basis that could either set you back, or what I'm encouraging you to do is to be stepping forward. This is not the way I've always thought. I used to always avoid negative things. Work around them in a way. Pretend that they don't exist. It wasn't until I started studying the Stoic philosophers out there. I know it sounds very elegant. Stoic philosophers, and they taught me a new way to think. They taught me to embrace setbacks or to embrace challenges, because it's how we accept those challenges are going to determine our success. There's a simple method that they teach, and it's called Test of the Gods. Now, testing of the gods consists of two things. One is when you face a setback, it is how you respond emotionally to that setback. Do you respond positively? Do you respond negatively? Meaning, do you get mad or angry at the situation or depressed? And the second piece is how quickly can you create a workaround or a new pathway in order to get around that setback, in order to create a success. When you're in the creative financing space, in the real estate world, setbacks are inevitable. They happen on a daily basis, and I'll tell you, some of the best deals that we have done have had setbacks involved in them. Let me give you some examples. Well, let me take it broad first. Typically, when a new real estate investor gets into the terms business or the creative financing space, one of their number one fears is that a buyer will default. We always get asked, what happens if a buyer defaults? Now, I got this great deal, but what happens if a buyer defaults? If a buyer defaults, that can be one of the best things for that deal. Now, that doesn't mean that we're out there specifically looking for buyers to default, but it's inevitable that there are going to be a percentage of buyers that do default. They either don't make their payday ones, or they stop making their monthly payments, and then they go into default. Let me just give you a more specific example. So we're working on a property that we purchased out in Connecticut. We purchased this property subject to the existing financing, meaning we have title, and we place a buyer in the property. They seem really great at first. They come up with a non-refundable deposit. Then they start making some monthly payments, and about 3 or 4 months in, they stop making payments. Now, I know we're in the midst of a pandemic, and some of these things do happen and may happen at a slightly higher rate. So this buyer stops paying. So immediately we go into action. We have some conversations with the buyer. We then lose communication with that buyer, which means that we have to bring them through the eviction process. Now, it takes us about 3, 4, 5 months to get them out of the property. Now, if this is the first time you've been listening to any of our videos, you may be saying to yourself, well, yeah, this is kind of playing into my fear of what happens if a buyer defaults. Well, once we were able to remove that buyer, we are able to go ahead and place a better buyer in the property. And this happens 10 times out of 10, I promise you this. Place a better buyer in the property. They had a larger non-refundable deposit. They're a much stronger buyer financially. And guess what? In this exact property that I'm thinking of, the buyer is going to get financing, is going through the financing process right now. They should be paying off and becoming homeowners, which is the most amazing thing in the world, becoming homeowners within the next 90 days. Now, they are qualifying for that loan almost 12 months ahead of what we set them up for. So a much stronger, better buyer. Now, if we approach this from the Stoic Test of the Gods, we would have passed this one. No, I couldn't say that for them all, but we would have passed this one. We responded emotionally, positively, and we create a workaround immediately. Now, I want you to put yourself in the position of a real estate investor now. If you're not there yet, we hope to see you there soon. And if you are interested in just starting out your journey, I would encourage you to start with our ebook and go to smartrealestatecoach.com/ebook and start learning how we buy these things creatively and create our 3 paydays in every single one of our deals. Because when you're getting 3 paydays, it makes it a little bit easier to pass this test of the gods. Now, we were able to pass it this time. So as you put yourself in that real estate investor position, know that setbacks are inevitable. Know that it's all about how you respond and create a new pathway is what is going to determine your success. So take this from a real estate investment standpoint, or take this from a life standpoint. It's how you respond that will determine your success.